Good morning, Visa. Today, I want to share the experience related to visiting a wonderful Australian zoo that was established by late Steve Irwin. I want to share the experience of visiting the Australian zoo and presenting some of the issues that the Australian zoo has been facing over the past few years. I have found that the zoo has been operated by Australian government bodies or the territorial bodies for animal well-being. The secondary stakeholders for the zoo are veterinarians, animal health bodies, and animal welfare groups. I have noticed that tourism management across the world has been facing serious challenges, including financial crisis, tourist, climatic change condition, cultural differences, and many more. The major issues that I have noticed while has been the in the Australia Zoo has been facing intense issue of climate change, as this has been making large environmental impact. Here I want to highlight the issues of tourism management in the context of zoo visiting activities. Australia Zoo has been a part of various organizations as a stakeholder, and I have identified that there have been various issues with the global restrictions on exporting animals to countries that impact the zoos in Australia. I have visited the Australia Zoo, which has been facing difficulties, challenges, and issues regarding climatic change and finance, lack of visitors, and the climate change has been leading to animal death due to import and export and sudden monsoon changes. I have found that the Australian Zoo has been suffering from major financial issues and the zoo has been shut down for almost 78 days. Therefore, the animals have been suffering from hunger. And do you know what? After all this major sufferings, Irwin has decided to take a loan of £80,000 to feed the animals. And animals have been facing issues of malnutrition and weakness. Animals have not only been facing the issues of lack of feeding to animals and malnutrition, but also they have been suffering from lack of space in the zoo. The animals have been suffering from congestions due to the large number of animals in small spaces. I have found during the investigation that the government has not been able to provide space for the zoos for occupying more land in the urban areas for animals' welfare. This has resulted in the Australian zoo that they started facing the issues of lack of funding that leads to increased financial burdens. Later on, animals face the issues regarding psychological disorders as they start hurting themselves, and the captivity abuses them, hurting them, and being violent towards the animal. I have seen that there have been some issues with the keepers that they have been avoiding the climate change, and this leads to suffocation and congestion among animals, and they have been underfeeding them and sometimes completely neglecting animals. I have identified that the main problem of the Australian Zoo has been its technique of management, and hence the animals have been suffering from lack of sustainability and they have not got enough freedom. I have found the issue of poor management and poor operational conduction that directly impacts the animal mostly and make them suffer. I have found that the Australia Zoo has introduced a conservation program for children and adults to educate them about the welfare of animals and promote the well-being of wildlife. The program has been used to maintain the area of the zoo and improve the animals' well-being. Australia Zoo has started to focus on climatic change and issues related to climate to control the negative impact of the climatic issues on the sustainability of animals and their welfare. I have identified that the zoo has introduced a no plastic environment program to avoid climatic change issue and storing and packaging animal food in plastic, and have found that the strong opposition has been given by the PETA and Born Free Foundation to detach the captivation of animals to captify conditions. They have been providing more natural habitat to animals to mitigate the issue of climate change and avoid suffering from natural calamities. I think Australian zoos should focus on the improvement of its infrastructure and operational management of the place. They can strengthen the relationship between the employee and the animals so that the animals feel secure and committed. They can provide veterinary care to animals by filling the nutritional requirement of food and enrichment of the environment. I think Australia Zoo can create a membership pass for the visitors to increase the financial state and improve their financial crisis. They can control their ticket pricing to involve more visitors and tourists with the zoo and to attract the customers just like the North Carolina in the USA. They can offer special deals and discounts offered days to customers as a marketing scheme for the development. All I can say is that provide opportunities for growth and development through implementing mentorship program and offering training for educational to maintain climatic consequences and protect animals in any climatic condition. Australian Zoo can use the strategy of implementing regular communication and engagement channels to take feedback from the visitors for the improvement. I feel the Australian Zoo should acquire more land and increase or expand their zoo for the animals to keep them properly with enough space to stay. This has been leading to reducing the negative propaganda of animal activities group and reducing the tendency of animal suffering. I have been recommending a strategy to use marketing technique and marketing campaigns to increase their visitors, which can improve their financial issues and climatic change. They can use social media platforms and electronic media to attract more customers. These social media platforms and electronic medias can improve zoo revenue, which they can utilize in improving the infrastructure of the zoo and helps to increase the number of visitors. They can approach the investors and promoters to promote their zoo and help to reach maximum customers and influence them to visit the zoo. They can provide natural habitats to animals that can increase the life expectancy of animals and provide better habitat to face the issues of the climate change. I think these strategies can be used to improve the infrastructure and issues of the Australia Zoo.